Hey guys, welcome back to Roll Radio. This is Bradley Miles. Super excited to present our next guest here. One of the top 5 music video directors working today. He's directed videos for Playboi Carti, XXXTentaction, and so much more. Give it up for James Pereira today at Roll Radio.
Oh man, how are you? Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, of course, pretty good. For those that don't know, talk a little bit about your background in music video directing, how you got into it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just got into it because of music. Music has just always been my passion. I started off, classic. You go to school, you play the violin, pick out your instruments, and then if you really like something, you stick with it. And I stuck with the trumpet for a while, and then I got to go to a studio and got to experience, recording it. And it was really expensive coming out of my own pocket as like a young kid. So then I kind of got into just audio engineering, and that kind of just steered me like heavily into, working with artists and helping them find their sound and just figuring out what it took to become, like a big player in this music industry, So like, as that kind of progressed, I got introduced to videos, which is, another big asset nowadays when it comes to, an artist brand. And I got the chance to go on tour with an artist that I was working with, and it was with Wu-Tang Clan. So I got to go to Germany, and he bought me a camera. And that was kind of it from there. I was like, man, I can travel the world, not be sitting in a studio, be getting paid, meeting people, experiencing the world, experiencing new cultures. It was kind of a sell for me. So that's kind of really what got me into video, and the music passion kind of just steered it towards music video directing specifically. But yeah, that's kind of the progression. And I'm here now directing music videos. So yeah, it got me there that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're super modest. Like, for those that don't know, like, your reputation is insane. Like, the body of work that you've done, the road ahead for you is going to be incredible as well. I mean, when was that moment where you just realized, like, hey, I'm probably like top 5, top 10 in the world doing this. Like, I have my own singular style. Like, my videos are recognizable. Like, did you have a moment like that where you were like, okay, I'm one of the best doing this?
I feel like when you're in a craft and you're really passionate about something specific, you gain a taste for it. And I just feel like because I've been so much into this film world, I think of myself as like, man, I got hella work to do. You know what I'm saying? I got all these directors that I look up to, and like some of them are 10 years younger than me, 18 years old, and they're putting out work that I would aspire to be doing just in the next few years. So it's like, I'm very happy that I've been able to, work with the people I have and, put out some of the work that I have. It's just like, it's been a lot of great collaborations. And through the collaboration, I've been able to find my style, so I definitely have to attribute a lot of that to the people that were in my circle and kind of gave me the ability to express my side of the creative through my, passion, which was video. So I don't know, man. I feel like I have a long way to go, and I'm seeing that there's a lot of younger directors and DPs and just content creators that are coming out. So like, when someone says something like that to me, I mean, it's certainly humbling, but it's like, it kind of just is like, man, I have a responsibility to like, kind of just steer these younger creatives in a direction, just because like, I don't think I'm the best at what I do, but if someone's like, yo, James, you're really doing this, it's like, the least I can do is kind of just spit some game and spit some knowledge so that they can skip, some of those really shitty moments that I had coming up, just being on my own. And hopefully that just puts me in a position where, like if I do want to stop doing videos one day and pursue something else, I kind of just left my mark and left seeds where I needed to leave, like grow. That's kind of the way I see it. So a lot of growth still for me ahead.
For sure. Man. And then like one thing I just love about your videos is when you're with the artist, it kind of feels like you're just hanging out with them for the day. Like you're just kind of a part of their experience. I'm a huge fan of Father. I'm a huge fan of your collaborations with them in the group, particularly the video Slide Through. It just kind of feels like you're with them. Talk to me about like what's the pre-production like getting to know the artist. Like, is it just, hey, I'm James, let's do this? Like, what's the pre-production? What's the work beforehand? How do you sort of build and just cultivate this relationship with artists?
So, I mean, I guess it's super different for like a lot of, directors and how they approach a situation. You know, there's certain directors who are very just visually inspired by, you know, their own kind of life and just write treatments and kind of just throw it out there, which is super dope. And sometimes I do that. But like building with an artist has kind of always been something that was super like intimate to me. And that's really what allows for me to kind of get the exact vision, so that someone's like, you know, someone else's brand, they know it better than I do. But in terms of like bringing something to life, I feel like I can help bring that vision to life rather than just letting someone do it on their own. So for me, it was just like getting to know someone before making anything with them was like a really big, you know, moving point when it came to like, you know, a trust on set. And, you know, being able to capture something or being able to tell an artist, yo, stand that way, or yo, bro, take the shirt off, it looks way cooler with you. You know what I mean? And like, if you don't know someone, you can't just tell someone to do something unless you've really built that trust. So like, you know, for me, it was really important getting to know people to actually get a vibe for like how much energy from my side of things I can actually put on the table without disrupting the flow that we have. So yeah, man, like with Father, it was like really early in my relationship. And before I even met Father, Rich Post Slim, who was, you know, an artist from Alpha Records at the time, you know, he introduced me to a lot of the people. And he was just, you know, we had connected on Twitter, and it was just like super random. I can't even remember, but like I got involved with Alpha Records because like I was just super interested in the fact that they didn't give a fuck. And excuse my language, but like they really, it was all over the place, man. It was like, let's just do this. Let's just run this. So in terms of pre-production, there was none. There was zero. And I think that's what allowed me to learn so much so quickly. Was like, yo, bro, we're not really going to be giving you any money for this, but you're here, you're sleeping on the floor. We got music. You want to make videos. Like, what's up? You know? And like, for me at that time, I had the drive to just want to make shit, make a name for myself. So like, I just wanted to get videos out there. And they kind of just gave me that platform. They already had a really cool following of people that were just accepting of cool new stuff, that weren't judgmental. And those are the people that I fit in with, because it was like, you know, I didn't go to school for film. A lot of these people didn't go to school for music. You just got it or you don't. And you either love it or you don't. And it was just cool that like, you know, they're all sleeping at this one house. Everybody was like super family vibes. There was a lot of sharing. And it was just like, man, this is really like, when you're talking about the struggle to make it, and like talking about as a creative, like being like, yo, we're in the mud right now, like making whatever we have work, like that was the definition of it. And it was just so cool to see it firsthand and how genuine it was. That's kind of just how it built from there. And then, you know, from Father, I got introduced to Playboi Carti, who at the time was with Alpha Records. And, you know, I met him in Father's kitchen at the house in Atlanta. So it was like, it kind of progressed from there. And then, you know, after meeting Carti and doing some work with him, he slowly started introducing me to people, and his team introduced me, you know what I mean? So it kind of grew. I met Maxo, and everything kind of just expanded in all these directions. So it kind of just let life take me, you know?
Yeah. You talked a little bit about this drive earlier, and before we dive into some of the amazing work you've done and some of the other art forms that you're into, specifically, like, what is it that drives you as a music video director? Like, what inspires you? What are you chasing?
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I wake up and I don't know exactly what I'm doing it for, in terms of like the creative aspect, like what's the final goal? I'm not sure. I feel like I wake up and I'm inspired by new things every day, where it's like, wow, this is the new next thing that I really want to do. And you never knew about it until that day. But like, you know, for me, I'm a family man. I want to really just make great shit so that I can set an example for my kids. I mean, as you know, as simple and boring that might be, it's like something I really look forward to being a father and having kids and setting an example, and kind of just like, I want to be a cool dad. You know what I mean? I want to be like the you know, the parent that can really like set a really sick example for their kid to just like be whoever the fuck they want and just support them in whatever they want. And my parents did that for me. So like, I just want to, you know, keep, it's like the generational upgrade. You want to be that generation that upgrades everything for your family, you know? So that's basically it. You know, I really do it for the internal family structure, but at the end of the day, I do want to make great art. You know, I want my name to be left with stuff that people will really just look at it and they're like, they really cared. or they really had something to say, you know? So that's why a lot of the work that I pick is, you know, where it's meaning, it has something to say. There's like, you know, blood, passion, love, tears, something behind it that drives it, you know? So that's kind of where the inspiration comes from. That's where the passion, you know, ignites every morning, is, you know, making a change, inspiring people, sparking a conversation, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, talk about legendary rappers. I mean, you talked about your sort of story, getting to know Playboi Carti. Like, you know, unfortunately you worked with, a rapper that's now iconic, but, you know, did pass away, XXXTentaction. What was your story there? How did you get to know him? How did you guys collaborate on that incredible Look at Me video? And yeah, would just love to hear a little bit more about your relationship with X.
Yeah, I mean, my relationship with X was, you know, it's definitely a one-of-a-kind relationship that I'm always gonna hold dear to my heart, just because it was like one of those years on the later end before he passed away where I just learned so much. But the build up to, this accumulation of work that we got to do, it started off in this, you know, just, hey, here's this cool dude, James, video director, and that's Denzel Curry at the time. And I had met Denzel, who's, you know, he's up there with the legends himself. So, you know, meeting Denzel, he kind of really introduced me to this whole South Florida underground world. You know, I got to meet X Ski the same day. He brought me to the ULT house. Ronnie J was there, and I had already actually known Ronnie J a bit. And it was just like, really just like, wow, this is all these people in a house. And it was very similar to what I had seen in Atlanta. You know, I'd seen all these people just with the dream to be the next big thing, and everyone's just pushing each other. Ronnie's making bangers down the hallway. Denzel and X are screaming in a room. Ski's in his room, fucking scream. It was just insane. And like just being there for 30 minutes and witnessing that was like, geez, like these guys are doing this for sure. There's nothing else. This is what they have. And it was just like, man, that's inspiring as hell that, you know, you have these young kids kind of just all coming together and supporting each other. So obviously I want to, you know, see how I can make that a bigger thing. And I just explored that and slowly just built relationship with these guys. And, you know, X obviously had a really specific storyline. He kind of got caught up with a lot of things and was dealing with jail and in and out of jail. But I knew how talented he was. And I knew a lot of the struggles that he kind of was just going through as like a young kid. He didn't have a lot of parental guidance. And it was just like, man, he's so talented. I kind of want to just be the big bro, you know? And it kind of just grew from there, man. You know, it was about being there at the right time. And when the call came in, being ready to just hop on a flight and just, you know, invest your own money and time into something you really believed in, you know what I mean? Without having this guaranteed, you're going to get paid, I'm going to take care of you, you're going to get like, it was none of that. Like, I don't have no deals with X where it was none of that. It was just like, are you showing up? There's like 6 directors who want to shoot Look at Me. I want you, but like, all these directors want to shoot that are pitching. And I told them I'm only shooting with you. And it was like, if I didn't get on that flight that night, he would have been shot that video with Nabil or some other director that I really looked up to, which would have been great, but I would have had a very different relationship with him, you know? So that was basically it. I was just always there when he called, because I knew that the music was bigger than the music at that point, you know? And even now it still hasn't hit, but like, you know, I meet kids all the time that are like, you know, X saved my life. You know, I listened to 17 when I was suicidal, and I was having problems with drugs, and, you know, all these situations. And it's like, you know, I feel like we came from this generation of a lot of kids who kind of got caught up in that world. So like, just being a part of someone who could connect to that many people was a blessing, you know, as just a visual like I'm just a director bringing his vision to life, you know? So, man, it was just a blessing. He was my brother. He was, you know, besides the music that we made, I learned a lot from him, and in a lot of ways, you know, I was big bro at the beginning, but like towards the end, he became big bro in a lot of ways, you know? So it's really cool how that kind of relationship morphed, you know? But I think people nowadays should really accept having younger mentors, because there's a lot of young kids who are super tapped in that can teach a lot of older heads like me, and I'm calling myself an older head just because like dudes are starting, like, I mean, creators are starting at like 13, 14, making stuff that people have gone their whole career not even touching. So like, that's kind of why, you know, not being afraid to just tap in with anyone, any age, anyone. Just don't be afraid, because you never know what can come from it. If it feels good, you just fucking send it. It's the best advice I can give, you know?
I think you're one of the more super interesting directors, because it seems like you've built you're not only just building a relationship, but it seems like you're building a community of just people coming up with you, and the sort of constant collaboration. I want to dive a little bit sort of behind the scenes here. So when a rapper approaches you to work with, when a rapper wants to work with you, like a Roddy Ricch or a Black, talk to me a little bit about what goes into that in terms of sort of a craft level. So in general, like, is there sort of a treatment you're writing? Who's writing the treatment? Are they like, is a Roddy Ricch or a Black coming to you and being like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do it this way? What's your process like typically?
I think it all depends on the relationship I have with the artist or the team or the label. You know, there's some artists that will hit me up and be like, yo, bro, this is what we're doing. And it's just like, they know exactly what they want. They're like, you know, I want this vibe. Here's the references. I like this video you shot had this that I liked. And they kind of just put all of these elements on a plate, and they're like, can you make this happen? And then it's just my job to like put it together nicely and like show the team so that everyone's like, all right, we're cool with giving you the resources to do that. So that's kind of like one of the approaches. But then there's other times where, you know, an artist is kind of just like, what do you think? And they'll just send me a song, and they're kind of just open to me just pulling ideas out of a hat and just throwing what's up in the air, and whatever sticks, I kind of just build around. And then there's the other times where, you know, I sit down with an artist, play the song, and we just come up with it together. And like,
that's amazing.
That's usually my favorite, because then I feel like both of us feel like we have a hand on something at the same time. We're creating it together. So like, we have this like almost responsibility to make it come to life, because we put our time and energy into it. And someone I just recently did that with was Tokyo's Revenge. Him and the producer Cliff came over, and like, these young kids that like, they inspire me because they're just making absolute bangers, and they're inspired by, you know, my colleagues. And it's this generational pass on of just energy and inspiration. And it's like, they're leveling up, and they're the next generation that's really going to like push people to do what's great. And, you know, it's those types of, you know, different scenarios that you kind of just got to play off of your relationship, because I think that's what really allows you to get the best product. You know, with Roddy, he would send me a song and be like, I have this general idea, let's build around it. And that's kind of how we rocked it. And then there's other times where, you know, he just didn't care, and he was just like, I just want this to be hard, you know? So it's super cool, man. And I think the process changes once you get more projects in with someone. You know, the more you prove yourself as like, you know, getting it done and not needing the artist to answer every question, and them trusting you to just bring something to life that really does match their brand. That's where like the idea coming up with and all that stuff becomes way more interesting, because I feel like it's like, once you have this synchronization, it feels good. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, once you're shooting hoops and you get that flow, it's done. You just get that, woo, you're hot, you know? So I like to like build with artists to get to that point, you know, where it's just like, I know that the next time I get a call, it's go time, and we already know how to go about it, you know? But yeah, man, it really depends. By the artist, there's been not one scenario where it's been the same, you know?
Talk to me specifically about the treatment for, I think one super innovative video that you did, Playboi Carti's Woke Up Like This.
I mean, so like generally, like that was pretty way back. We were supposed to shoot a video way before then for another song when we were at Father's house when I first met him, and he like pulled up to the house. He was with like Bloody Dior and Bloody Osiris. I don't know if you know those guys, but there's some, you know, fashion tastemakers that came from New York that I got to get familiar with over the years. And like, you know, they came in, they didn't know who I was, and they were like pressing me to shoot the video right there. They were like, we came through, it's 4 a.m, like, you better shoot right now. And they were like 12 hours late. I was supposed to shoot in the afternoon. So like at that time, you know, I had already done a few videos with Alpha Records. So Carti was like a little bit familiar with like what I was putting out. And I was like, bro, you got great music. Like you really should just wait until you have like a good budget and we can do something really dope. You know, like we shouldn't shoot a video in Father's kitchen. I just shot a video in here yesterday, you know, for Father. And he was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. And we kind of just like had a heart to heart. And like, it was like bro, I really fuck with you, but it's not worth wasting your time. You're too big of an artist to be putting this video out. And that's kind of what happened. He just didn't drop a video for a while. And then when he finally got the resources and the label backing him, he was like, yo, bro, it's time. Let's woke up like this, you know? So that was really cool. And that was like one of the first big, like, if you're real with someone and you tell them exactly what you think and you actually like put people first in terms of like making sure that they're not set up for failure, they're going to remember that, you know? So he called me and we did it. And in terms of the treatment, he basically just said like, you know, there's a lot of copycats. There's a lot of people who are just trying to sound exactly like me. And I was like, why don't we just lock them up? Because they're all fake. They're not the real ones. They're not the real Carti, you know? So then we kind of just like went down this road, and I had my friend Raheem at the time. He had creative directed the video. And yeah, man, we were just like throwing stuff out. And like, you know, like I forget what like, we had like so many video references, but there was like, you know, one scene where he's in the cell and he's got the TV and the girl braiding his hair. And it was just like, we just got to make sure that Carti is clearly the real one and all these guys are not being treated the same. And that was basically it. It was really simple. I just wanted to capture Carti and his persona. And the day went smooth. By the end of the day, he was really tired. So I was just like, Carti, just like chill in the corner, lean against the wall. You don't have to get crazy, bro. And that was it. And then we just called it a day. But yeah, man, that was an interesting experience. I'm definitely down to chef it up with Sir Cartier one more time.
Absolutely. You've worked with some of the most iconic people that, you know, we all know and listen to today. Who's someone you haven't worked with that you'd love to just connect with?
Man, I would absolutely love to shoot a video or do anything creative with FKA Twigs. I think she's like, in terms of an artist that like puts in the time and like the work to perfect her craft. Like, I don't know if you've seen the like music video for Cellophane or the behind the scenes for it, but it's like, man, she like put in like almost a year of training, just like dancing, getting it perfect and getting her body right and all this shit. And it was just like, not a lot of people that put in more than a day or two into stuff now. It's all instant gratification. And, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but that saying is kind of less and less valuable nowadays because like people really don't put time into shit. So yeah, man, that just struck me and I was like, she's a real artist. That really inspires me. I want to work with people that care about their music more than I do. And I feel like I end up coming on, like walking on set or speaking with an artist in their team and I actually care more than everybody else, which sucks. It's like, how do I care more than the artist and the team? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Must be a real bummer feeling. Yeah, I love her video 2 weeks. It's kind of the first one I saw, and it was just killer.
Insane.
Yeah, man. So you know, you're pretty recognizable now as a music video director. Like you're well on your way to just, you know, being in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, for those listening that, you know, are aspiring to be in your position, like talk to me about the stuff they don't see, like pre-2015, even like the gritty stuff that you just had to do to like get into a father's house or just be in those conversations with an ex. Like talk to me about the early humble beginnings and how you got to where you were. So before some of these bigger videos.
I think I mean, for me, I mean, it's just also the way I move. Like everything is based on relationships that I have. So like, you know, pre-2015, it's like, you know, I'm just a dude in Boston who's like trying to record stuff in my studio. And I happen to get a camera around that time. I'm trying to find local artists to work with that are down to pay me, you know, at least something where I can kind of start building up like a rate, if I would even call it that, you know. And you know, I just started building relationships with some really cool artists, and really some of the stuff you don't hear about is like, you know, initially I was like doing free videos for a while, and I was telling the artists, I was like, bro, I'm only doing a free video if you tell someone I charged you $5,000. And they were like, to do a video for free if I tell everybody that? Bet. So like, you know, there's certain friends that like to this day, you know, like we laugh about it, but like, you know, you don't want to tell someone you just like paid $0 for a video if you're talking about flexing too. So it's like, let's keep this cohesive across the board. Like, you're doing this shit, we're renting a car, we're doing this, but we're trying to pull this off. It's like, you can't be going around calling me a finesse boy doing shit for free, because that makes me look bad. So let's put value both ways, you know? You got the bread because you clearly got it. I got the movies with the rates. I clearly got it. Let's play the part, you know? And this is when you're like, this is when I'm like 17, 16, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even got a car or a license yet. I'm just grinding, you know? So it's like, that's kind of it. You kind of just got to like put yourself in a position where you can build with people to like help grow each other's value. And like something I always tell, you know, people is just like, friends are people that you should be able to walk into a room and not have to introduce yourself. They're going to jump ahead of you and be like, yo, this is my homie James. You don't know James? Oh, da, 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 da. You know? So like when someone has to talk about themselves, that's always a bummer. Cause then you're like, you know, like you want someone that really knows you, that really knows like what you're trying to put on the table at that time where you're at. And that's basically it. It's just like a supportive person, you know, someone that really got your back on that. So it's kind of cohesive with the whole visual identity, you know what I mean, is making sure you can hold someone down and talk well on someone's behalf, you know, especially if they're putting in hard work. But this whole film industry, man, there's a lot of people helping each other behind the scenes, because it's not the most glamorous, like quick overnight come up, you know. It's a lot of hard work, being on set, networking, meeting new people, putting in time for relationships. It's not just a shoot a video and edit, you know. There's a lot that goes into the process of getting to be where you want to be, you know.
For sure. Yeah, anything crazy that you did in the early days just to kind of get in front of artists, or just to kind of be seen? Any stories you could share?
Yeah, I went to South by Southwest. I drove to South by Southwest with 10 guys in a minivan. We got one apartment, one bedroom, and it was like all of us sleeping in there. And I brought a security t-shirt, and I snuck onto every stage wearing a security guard t-shirt with a black backpack underneath it, and I'd pull my camera out and I'd just start shooting. I was at the 300 event, and I was on stage with like Young Thug, like all these people that at that time were like up and coming artists, and like it was just like massive people that are today are just massive. And I was just like on stage with all these artists just because I was like, yeah, security, cool. You know, so it's just like, bro, you gotta play the finesse game. Sometimes you just gotta like not ask for permission and just do it, and then, you know, apologize after. You know, you don't say, hey, can I sneak on this bridge and get this photo? Like, nah, you go get that photo until someone says no. That doesn't apply to everything in life, but it like when you want to be this like, you know, adventurous go-getter, visionary photographer, whatever you want to do, you kind of just got to take those risks. That's really what it is to be, you know, capturing the moment, is being there at the time when someone else isn't, you know? So yeah, you kind of got to put yourself in weird places just to get yourself the key, but it's worth it sometimes. Just never put yourself in too much danger. It's not worth it to that extent, because, you know, things do happen right around the corner that you wouldn't expect. So it's like, you know, don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to lose everything. You know, there's a way to move smart within all the finessing, you know?
Yeah, totally. I'm super excited in some of the communities that creatives end up forming. I want to dive into some of your other ventures. So you're founder of Throat Magazine, kind of this publication for tastemakers. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What's it like being a founder? What's sort of the next steps for Throat?
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, when I was living in New York, started shooting a lot of film, and I was shooting a lot of faces and just people, and just kind of like figuring out a little bit more about the fashion world. So all these different, you know, worlds that are super involved in the industry kind of just like clashing in front of my eyes. So I really wanted to get more involved in bringing that bigger world together. So I wasn't just like a one-sided like vision person. Like, you know, having all those elements coordinate is what makes a great product, you know? So, you know, Throat is really just an output from me shooting stuff and not having the right places to put it, in the best way to say it. It's like I was sick of waiting on platforms. I was sick of waiting on other people's communities to tell me what was good and what was not good for them. So I was kind of just like, why don't I just make my own, where I'm the boss. I can post when I want. There's no cancellation. There's no signing my rights to somebody or any of that. It was kind of just that. And I was doing it as a passion project. So I didn't want to have all this extra added stress trying to do something that was out of my control. So really it was just about making a place where I could really be a creative without having the pressures of the industry. You know, like I'm doing videos and that's helping me pay the bills, but the photo world still to this day is like, you know, if maybe like I make 1% of it is, you know, me trying to make money. Like I barely make money on photos. It's really a passion project of mine. Hopefully things will change with this lab. You know, it's an investment, but that kind of, you know, is the next adventure on top of Throat. You know, I got so into film over the past few years. I just really wanted to have a platform where eventually there was enough work on it and it had a strong look that I could start bringing all these other great creatives on. And it's pretty much getting to that point.
For sure.
Where I really love it, you know, and I can actually have a platform where there's a good amount of followers, and I can, like, yesterday I posted a set from this Russian photographer, and now I'm like starting to feature other people, and hopefully get the book printed soon. So yeah, man, I mean, it's not like a lifestyle brand or anything. It's just really a place where people can feel safe to create what they want and showcase to other creatives, you know?
How do you go about, James, how do you go about building a community around a brand? What were some of the early steps you took to build that community around Throat?
I think just being consistent with, you know, what your mission, code, or statement is. You know, a community is really just if people are going to actually abide by, you know, what the standard is or what the rules are for that community, you know, and you need to have everyone be in agreement upon that. So for me, it was like, you know, make this place. I made it a private page. So I was like, no fake pages. It's gonna be real people, real people. And that kind of was like the tone that said it. It was like, you know, this is a place where we can share content where, you know, it's not going to just be someone hiding behind a fake page saying some ignorant stuff, you know? And another part of Throat was, you know, a lot of models I had heard had a lot of terrible experiences with dealing with photographers and this and that. So like, I wanted a space specifically for my girlfriend to just know she could create awesome content and have control of it and not be waiting, you know, to figure out if something went successful or not. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're just like shooting and you never know what's going to happen after with like the content that you made. So I just kind of wanted to have something a little bit more secure, you know, for everyone that was involved.
For sure. Yeah. Let's get into sort of where you are now. The name of this space, love it. Last Good Film Lab. Talk to me about what it is, what inspired it.
So it's a photo lab, kind of like what you would think would be a dark room, but we're not necessarily doing, you know, everything by hand. There's certain film that we would process by hand, but we got some really cool machines here so we can keep up with you know, the growing demand of people wanting to shoot film. But basically just wanted to create a space that was, you know, central to a lot of the shooters that I know in LA. It's dead center of Hollywood. And we just wanted to have a place that was, you know, a place that existed with photographers. You know, a lot of the labs you go to, you don't really have the ability to speak with someone that's out shooting and kind of hands-on with a lot of the stuff. A lot of it's kind of just like mom and pop labs that are just doing photo, you know, passport photos and just giving you your scans and saying, see you later. So kind of just wanted like a premium lab where you can come in and know you're getting really taken care of. And, you know, we're going to be doing color, black and white, 35 millimeter, black, medium format, color slide film, a little bit of everything, man. So as long as there's a demand for it, we're going to keep growing with what people want. But yeah, man, I mean, it's really just a space that hopefully we can support other photographers in a more proper way. You know, we have a lot of big dreams and goals for this place. You know, we want to build a community around this spot and hopefully have people coming in and not just dropping off film, you know, feeling like they're coming to their home base.
Yeah. I love that a lot of, I guess your success, like even across industries and art forms and categories, like really caters to community, like working with a community of artists, or, working with a community of photographers and models and tastemakers with Throat, and then just, a community of photographers as well, or with Last Film Lab. Do you have any advice for just some of the young general creatives out there with sort of, what you've learned so far on your journey?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, when you feel like it's time to pivot, go with your gut. I feel like, life and the part of the creative journey is about taking in a lot of bits and pieces so that you can like finalize this well-rounded so as it's important to master something specific. I feel like coming with mastering that specific craft, you need to have dipped your foot into a little bit of everything. You could focus just on one thing out the womb, but then you're going to be a baby genius that doesn't know how to communicate with people. You have social problems. Like, you really have to kind of try a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? Pick up, if you're talking about being a director, pick up a camera, try editing, go to a color session, ask some questions, be a PA, like do a little bit of everything on set, so that when you're envisioning this bigger picture, you really know what it takes to get that done, from creative to financial to resources to energy. I think it's super important, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you've done a little bit of everything. You've been in the game for a bit. You're now sort of, stepping into sort of managing artists with friends. You're managing a pretty impressive young rapper named Cave, based out of LA. Can you talk a little bit about Cave, how managing talent's different than being in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Yeah. I mean, I never really thought of myself as a manager, and I still kind of don't. It's more of like a creative manager, in a sense that, like, I don't really want to be a day-to-day. I hope that all the artists that I work with, know that in terms of like, getting up and doing stuff for yourself and making sure it's proper. Like, a lot of like Cave specifically, like, he's in LA, he's grinding and he's a go-getter. And that's a big reason why it makes sense for me, is because, obviously I have a lot of things going on, but like I said before, I want to add value where I can. So it's like, if he's putting out the work, he's getting the music done, everything's going to fall in place if I can really build an infrastructure for him in the right way. And I want to make sure he's, getting a good deal, not getting screwed over, and just deserves what's coming to him, man. He deserves greatness and great support and all the eyes. So I see that and I believe in him. So, I wanted to kind of just put my name behind him, even if that, helps a little bit. That's just something that hopefully eyes can start going to Cave, just even through me, which I'm, that's the minimum. But he needs infrastructure like any other artist would need. So like, the goal is to make like a label and have publishing and basically just all the things that an artist would really need, so that he doesn't have to worry about it. So kind of just creating that for him. I have a business partner, Vidal. He's from Paris. He's a phenomenal producer, and also another friend of ours, Sylvan. He goes by Tender Kid. He's a phenomenal artist and producer himself. And those are going to be the two artists that kind of like help us build our label and, brand, and kind of just take us to the next level. But yeah, man, it's like a big family. We're all helping each other, and all these, investments and adventures, as we call them, kind of just intertwine, like Throat, as much as it is a publication, it's being supported by, this film lab that now I can go to and so easily develop my film in a private, secure way, where I know I'm not just dropping off film to some random person and they're not taking care of my stuff, so kind of just investing in myself and all the people around me that I know bring value to making greatness, so like, yeah, that's basically it, man. Just, invest in your community, and that's how it's going to grow. If one pipe is closed, how are you going to have money flow in the other one? People need to see that it's going both ways for them to open their own flow of energy, So I like to show that, like, I'm here to invest without seeing an immediate payback, because I know it's going to come around in the right way,
Yeah, so we know your world really well, community, culture, content. You're kind of the best in the world at what you do. We know my world, crypto, digital currency. Talk to me about how these two things collide. How does digital currency enter your world?
So I've been thinking about like cryptocurrency for a while, just because it's like, it's this new thing that everyone's kind of hopping on, and over time people are starting to understand it more and be more educated about it. And as I've become more educated about it, I kind of just seeing it fit into this, new world, not new world order, but it's like, you have these people that are seeing where they can trust their hard-earned money, and influencers and people that you get, stuff from on a daily basis, whether it's music or entertainment. These are things that you have a strong relationship with and about. So cryptocurrency is something that, like a stock we were discussing before, it's like, you can invest in them, but I see this future of, these two worlds colliding, because you kind of, when you build a relationship with an individual or, a creative or a community, you can kind of see the direction it's going. And you can kind of feel the energy of, oh, this is a big wave, it's about to come. And you kind of have that insight before everyone else does, because you're putting all your time and energy into that, whatever that is. So yeah, man, I mean, I see this world colliding, and I feel like people are going to put more value on individuals, and specifically brands that are represented by individuals or, communities. And that's going to hold a lot more value. I think it's going to be, yeah, I as much as I want to say I know, I don't know, but I feel like it's going in the direction. And that's kind of what we were talking before, is just, intuition and having a gut feeling for something and just sending it. You know what I mean?
So, thinking about sort of, I guess, what we think about as role, colliding culture and currency by sort of branding these currencies for individuals and for communities. Would you ever consider creating your own JMP currency?
Yeah, I totally would. I mean, I would hope that I have people that would want to invest in the JMP. I think it would be something that would be really cool to see grow. And it's obviously a community itself. And I love building communities. And I think if, I continue to build more communities, and the communities that I do have continue to grow, I think, the coin itself just grows through that. It's like, I don't even have to change what I'm doing to have a coin. So yeah, of course I would have a coin. So it's because it's like, if I'm going to keep working harder, my coin is just going to be more valuable as I grow. So it's like, I would invest in an individual that's really going hard. So if, if you can start investing in individuals because they can have their own representative coin, I think it's a valuable way of thinking about how to invest your finances, like.
What kind of things would a JMP currency plug into in your world?
I mean, now that we're talking about all these things, like, I mean, if you were buying JMP, you could develop film, and pay with JMP. You could, when I drop a book for Throat, you could easily do that. When I have a record label and a studio and all that, if you bought JMP, you could book studio time with it. You could work with the producers I have signed. You could pay, if it's my coin, I got to be able to take it and accept it for my things. Otherwise, it's not valuable. So I don't see why not. Because then people would just buy it. If they're coming every day and they're dropping off film in my place, why not buy some JMP, especially if it's going to, get you to a place where you're either saving money doing it and also adding value to something. I don't know. It sounds like a win-win. I would definitely incorporate it into all aspects of what I'm investing into,
Interesting. Awesome to hear. And do you think there's a future where artists themselves have their own currency?
Yeah, I think so. I think that fans want to be able to interact with their artists in a certain way. And like a strong way to interact with an artist is just straight up by investing in them. You know what I mean? I think if you really want to prove an artist, like, I fuck with you, fucking buy their coin. You know what I mean? Like, show that you really mean it, put your money where your mouth is. And that's like, that's kind of a cool, different thing. But it's not like just throwing money out there and you don't get it back. You know, it's an investment. So if it's something you really mess with, it's going to add value to your life, because it's only just going to put you on the radar with someone that you genuinely care about, you know? Yeah. And then artists get to kind of interact with their most valuable investors, you know what I mean? In a cool way. And then, you know, a lot of these big investors, when you're talking about stocks, there's boards and all these places where you get to have input. So it's like, if you're investing in these coins, you're kind of sitting at the same table as the artist in a way, and you kind of open up communication. So there's a lot of cool ways that the coin can kind of allow people to interact in terms of buying things and, you know, value for certain things. It's really interesting, and I think it's definitely going to expand more and more as people are informed about it, you know?
Awesome. Well, that's amazing to hear. JMP, what's next for you? What is and in 2020 is kind of messed up, but what does 2021 look like for you? 2022, 2023?
Right now it's kind of investment time. I mean, I've put a lot of my eggs in a few different baskets, and I kind of just really want to like see those things come to fruition. So taking a little bit of less time towards making videos for other artists and making a little bit more time towards, you know, investing in myself.
Amazing.
Pretty much it. Yeah, I feel like I've put a lot of time and effort into bringing a lot of other people's visions to life, and now I want to bring mine. So I feel like the crown's really up in the air. There's a lot of people who are out there getting it.
Give me your top 3 to 5 rappers that we should know about.
Cave is going to take over the storm, and he's going to run it. He's going to take over. He's just got so much. And that's like, I mean, obviously it's biased because I'm managing him, and it's my best friend guy right now. He's like, he really understands where I'm coming at. Our energy's the same, and he just gets it. So it's like,
JMP, where can everyone find you online, or some of your products?
I got, you know, my handle is at you already know JMP. I think I'm gonna change it soon, man. I'm trying to get the clean 3-letter JMP, you know, so hopefully I'll get that soon. But other than that, man, I really just share a lot of my work on my Instagram. And if you go to my website, JMP Visuals, it just brings you right back to my Instagram, as well as like a YouTube playlist of all my work. But, you know, the Throat website's going to be up soon. We're going to have the website launched for this soon. So hopefully, you know, when people are catching this video over the next few months, year, whatever, all the stuff will be up, ready to go. And hopefully it's thriving by then. It will be thriving by then. And that's basically it, man. You can kind of just find me wherever. Just type in Directed by JMP, and you'll stumble across some stuff. And there's kind of just like a whole street of things going on. So once you walk down the street, you'll kind of catch a vibe. But yeah, man, I'm really excited that you got me on here. I feel like we talked about some cool stuff. A lot of stuff I haven't thought about in a while. So it was cool getting some memories.
Absolutely. Incredible having you on. James, thanks so much for stopping by Roll Radio.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, brother.